Today we're talking webinars, and I love using webinars for lead generation. I use my live content coaching strategy course, which is called, by the way, guys, Attract, Engage, Convert, and you can find it on Eventbrite. Just a little plug there to help attract people to me. Some people will go away and go, that was great, and never work with me. Some people will love me and work with me in a long time later. I've just had someone who's recently signed up with me who came to one of my Mappets like 6 years ago. So sometimes people last a long time. And then sometimes you get people go, oh my goodness, and work with you right away. And in fact, the person that we've got today on Confident Content is Kate Ryan, who I think had known me. I find out actually during this, but had known me before. But she came to one of my live coaching courses and then became a client, and she's a coaching client. She's amazing. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her in a minute, but I want to talk to you about what we're doing today. Today, we're going to work on how to use webinars to sell your offer in a non-sleazy, gross way, what the blocks are that Kate's facing, and unblocking some of those, so that if you've ever thought about using webinars for you in terms of that lead generation to build trust, to help people understand what your offer is and get those people in the door as paying clients, then this is the episode for you. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Kate before we jump in. I'm going to get her to fill in all the gaps. Kate Ryan is based in the Waikato. She is a photographer. One of the things I love about Kate is she does do a range of photography. So she does family, business, and brand, plus probably a few other bits and pieces there that I haven't mentioned. But where she and I have an alignment is Kate has got this amazing drive and desire to help you become more confident or feel more confident. And I love her passion to help us, especially as mothers, as women, to document our lives with camera, with film, without being fearful of the imperfections. You know, we're the ones picking apart those imperfections. The people who love us don't care. And I know that for me, Kate, this is something that relates to this. So I was obviously, when I got married to Rod, my daughters were part of the bridesmaids thing. We got amazing photos done. I was very self-conscious of a few shots where it kind of showed my double chin or other things. And when my daughters made like a beautiful wedding thing for Christmas present that year, they picked out their favorite photos. And some of those photos were photos I hated. And at first I was really pissed off that they had chosen photos that I didn't like. I was like, how could you not see those imperfections? But what I realized was what I'm looking at and seeing isn't what they're seeing, because they're seeing their mother looking at love with their stepfather. They're looking at that relationship. They're looking at what they see in me, and they're not picking apart my body. And I think I understood that. I teach you guys the same thing, but of course when it's yourself, it's a lot harder to.
Oh, absolutely, right?
So,
we all have those things.
All have it. So do you want to tell everyone about you? Because I said that you're a photographer, but actually what you're trying to get people to do is related to your photography, but isn't actually you going out and taking photos of them, is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, my number one love is being with my camera up to my eye and capturing that magic that I see in people that we all have, but that sometimes we fail to see in ourselves. And so that is kind of where my number one joy always is. But literally every time I go out on a photo shoot, people go, oh, I hate having my photo taken, or this is not my best side, or I hope you're going to Photoshop that into oblivion. And if I collected $1 for every time I heard that, I wouldn't need to be here doing this. And that, along with becoming a parent a wee while ago now, my children are sort of middle primary school years, kind of made me realize that like documenting the special things in our lives and the special things in our days is really, really important, and that we see all the magic in other people, but sometimes we fail to see it in ourselves. And I just wanted to like show my children and have a record of how loved that they were. So it kind of, this is all the build up into what I have created, which is a course, it's called Memory Vault. And it kind of intersects between taking care of all those digital photos that we all have, because we've all got blimmin' thousands of the things now that we take every day with our phones. And that's kind of like a little chaotic piece of life, that digital chaos there. And then that merge of parenthood, motherhood, where that's a little bit chaotic at times as well.
Tell me about
and
it.
Kind of
doesn't get better. Sorry,
not at times, all the time, right? And And it's kind of like, oh, I want to teach people how to take care of those digital memories, to bring them out of that digital space where they don't really actually exist, and to bring them into the real world. And so like to deal with that digital chaos, and to also like transform the way that we all think about and engage with our digital photos, our everyday photos, and to use them to build a deeper and more meaningful connection with our families and our own stories and ourselves, and to just help everybody really understand that they're loved, that they're valued, and that their story matters. And we all do that through photographs that we have every day.
I really love this because, obviously I've, when my children were younger, I was an early influence. So before we were talking about how outraged I would now be if people were choosing to put their kids everywhere on without permission. And then my 4-year-old, my youngest, basically made me a social media plan. She couldn't even write. She wrote it and then told me what it was. And it was like, you have no permission to put my photos up, if you're going to put one up. And it really changed my view, because I had been using social media to document my parenting. And I hadn't been doing it because I was like trying to use them for brand deals or anything like that. It was more just, social media is there. I can just make folders. I can do that. And one of the things my children have taught me, which I've really loved, is that I have masses of photos of them and of us. And they're not for public consumption. They're for family consumption. And somewhere along the way, I think we became a bit lazy and we are using photos to document our journey and in a digital space, like online. But actually, the photos are about, that's why we worry about it being perfect and we worry about all those things. But if they're a private photo, we maybe have a chance to see what someone else is seeing in that photo. We're not worrying about the extra roll or the fact that it, showing wide hips or, or dirty thighs, or I don't know why my thighs are dirty. Muddy. I was thinking, why did I say that? I was thinking dirty feet, but I was like, oh no, I've already used feet. Or you worry about the best side. And I think I agree with you. Like, there's so much amazing power, in people being able to look back. I'm so thankful that we have photos. But I've realised that there's gaps. Well, I don't have photos because they're just in my phone, or, so it's so important to have that record placed there.
Yeah, for sure. And it's like, I guess with the whole rise of social media and smartphones and things, we've the kind of social psyche has shifted for, what am I recording this for, my own family memory book, or I'm recording it for putting it on Instagram and getting the perfectly Instagrammable cool girl picture that shows that my family is whatever I want to produce to the world. But it's kind of like we miss out on all of those real moments, and we also, because they're digital, we're talking digital marketing here, but digital doesn't exist outside of a computer. It's all just bits and bytes.
It's so true.
There's a big risk, and this is kind of what my webinar is about, of losing all of that important storytelling, all those important memories, because they're digital, they're not real. And if you need to plug in your computer to enjoy your family memories, what happens when you can't plug in your computer, when the battery's flat, when the electricity goes out? So
I love that.
I'm passionate
Actually,
about.
one of the most precious things my dad did is he documented, because him and my mum had the kids, because I was a single mum, a lot, and my mum's a photographer, and so they were taking lots of photos, amateur photographer, and I hated taking my photo, but anyway, but she took all these photos, and so they made like a birth to the age of the child that came there of all these photos, and made them books for each of them, and then they gave me a copy too, so I had a copy. And I will say that, and then so if my house was on fire, it would be that. And then my daughters did one they took a whole lot of my kid photos of them when they were kids, and then went out one Mother's Day. One of my daughters was very hungover that day. She wasn't feeling very well. But they went and did the replication, the adult version of it. And I'm not allowed to share that on social media. Like, I loved it, but they're like, this is for you, which I also I get annoyed about, because I'm like proud that they did it. But I also love that they made it just for me. It wasn't something for public. It was just for me. But if I was going to choose something, those would be the things I would take from my house.
Yeah, exactly right. It's those physical things that if you have the opportunity to grab them, those are the things that you take. Those are the physical memories, because otherwise it's all up here. It's all in your head, or it's in a sort of digital like rubbish dump, basically.
It is. It is.
In your Google Drive, if it's anything like most people's.
And I do think that Gen Z, I know we're not talking about the thing yet, but I think Gen Z, it's interesting. My girls will often give each other photo albums, and they've gone and got this. They understand the importance of physical photos, and somehow our generation, like that older millennial and Gen Xers, we kind of lost it. We got so enamored with technology, we kind of lost this opportunity.
Well, it's like the convenience factor as well. Like there's always something, but going from having to take your roll of film to the pharmacy,
yeah, that is very true.
And it was expensive, and you only had 24 to 36 exposures to maybe document your whole summer. For example, you were much more thoughtful about which kinds of photos you used to take. But that's exactly it. The Gen Z, and basically kids born since about sort of 1996 onwards, they're at real risk of losing all of their childhood memories because it's all digital, and it's all various different types of digital as well. It's not just
that is huge.
It's CDs. It's probably some even floppy disks.
Yeah,
it's VHS.
Probably. Yep. There would be some and
USB
drives,
sticks, and
USB sticks, and they get lost and corrupted.
Easily
corrupted. So I mean, like, so we've explained exactly why you need to do this, because more people need to know about it.
Yeah,
and it's great, and it's a course, and they do it with you, don't they? It's a course that you lead them through.
Yeah. So I take them through step by step the things that they need to do, not only to like take care of their digital photographs and to keep them safe, but also to take photos with more intention and how to get those good photos that you want, that document the moment that you want to get. But, I also teach a little bit about how to get those, Instagram cool photos as well, because, we all kind of want those these days too. And it's also about actually using those photographs, getting them out of that digital sphere into real life by printing them in quality and different ways to display them and actually use them to bridge those connections with our family members and the other people that we love.
Okay, so Kate, we have been working together since I think September, and we've talked about what you do before, and can I tell you, this is the first time I felt really excited about this course, because you've actually told me stuff you haven't told me before.
Oh, okay.
And I think you're focusing too much on the taking care of the photos when you describe it.
Yeah,
and
it's because people tell me that that's what they want to know about.
But what I think it is, like, I think if you want to, and I agree that that's important, but what I'm wondering is, like, for me as a mum, if you could help me become the recorder and to create, like, I had a plan in place of how I was going to document my family's journey, that's exciting to me.
Yeah, I'm glad it's exciting to you. So it's like
the past, but it's the future as well.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm wondering if maybe part of that, when we talk about the webinar, like in terms of getting people on, that part of that might be that instead of it being even that taking care of the photos you have, I really liked that you're taking photos with more intention. Like, I was like, that's cool, because it's actually about thinking about, hey, actually, this is a moment that I want to take photos. What are the milestones, all those sort of things. Like, you could do like a webinar. I'm just thinking, because the webinar, what is the webinar? I've got an idea for this, by the way. I'm just writing it down before I do it. But what are you, what is the webinar you're currently doing?
So currently I talk about all of that, about how powerful photographs are, and I guess my like all those sorts of things that I'm passionate about, my background, about why I take the types of photos I do and why that they're really powerful. And I do talk about what's called the digital dark age, which is the fact that everything has become digital these days and we don't actually have any control over that, and they could be gone in an instant. And then there's a small teaching portion about how to go and look after those photographs to make sure that they're safe.
So that's what your thing is there. And how are you marketing it at the moment? What's it called? Does it have a name?
It's called Beat the Digital Dark Age. And previously I've marketed it, like I've only run it once this year. The plan is to run it a couple of times a year. And I sort of put out the sign up form sheet thing, lead generation page, and talk about direct people to that, have a little bit of Instagram stories, Instagram posts, reels, things like that, that direct people to come and join me there. And then obviously it's a webinar, so there's a pitch at the end. If you want my help to do this, then, come and join Memory Vault.
Okay, so I've got lots of things we're going to change. All right, so the first thing, let's just talk about the name. I do think that even though the digital dark age is part of this, I wonder if you would get more people who are interested if you talked about, like, I don't have a name for this yet, and we might have to go later on to ChatGPT, or it might be something we do later on, like you go away and do that and come back and we get some ideas for that, because I don't want to give an idea of a name unless I come up with an amazing one, in which case I was like, sometimes it happens, but I don't know if I can do it right now. But we definitely would use, I normally would say, once we've got an idea of what we do, I would say, go and ask ChatGPT for 25 ideas. And then normally I find that there's a part of one idea that I like. So it's never the whole thing. The whole thing is always terrible. And so I would say, get 25. We did this yesterday with something with a client, and I asked for, I think, 15, and we found one little phrase and all of the 15 things. It was like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to say. So I would do that. But I see the excitement for more people than the digital dark age. Because digital dark age is, you're talking to someone who's already thinking, I feel, there's some steps here. So many people aren't even aware of the problem of only having their photos on digital. They've done it for so long. So there's an education point, which I think is important. But what everyone wants to do is feel that they can document their family life or their life and do it with intent. And I love the idea of maybe doing something, because you are targeting parents, and I'm going to say mothers, but in general, I'm pretty sure most of the people you've worked with in the past have been women. Yeah. And most of them have been mothers.
We tend to be the memory keepers.
The memory keepers. So I love the phrase memory keepers. So milestone. So you could even have that in there, like milestones. You need to milestones. We need to measure, or we need to. What's the word? Not create milestones. We need to record, or something like that. The milestones we should record. A webinar for the memory makers, or memory keepers of the house, or something like that. And I feel like that would draw more people in. So I would call it something like that. I think it makes it broader. So your webinar, I think where you've gone, and I'm going to say wrong, like, I love you. So if I say wrong, I'm not having at you. But I think it went too niche. You have to have it at a high interest topic that's going to go broader, so you get more people. Because yes, it will mean that maybe you still get a small number of people who sign up, but we want more people to become aware of Kate Ryan, so they follow you, and so they're in your sticky web. So we need to go broader with a high interest topic. That's why when I was growing my audience, I would run a thing on Canva. My Canva things would be like, oh, sorry, I've got 150 seats gone and I can't give you any more. There's no more room. Whereas I was doing something really niche that I was really passionate in, like how to develop a content plan for such and such. I'd struggle to get 25 people in it. At the moment, we want to build your profile as this person, not just focus on getting that small number that understand that step already, because we want them to go on the journey. A webinar is not just for the people that are ready to buy. The webinar is to also get those people who are starting to understand that they might be that way.
Yeah.
So I think that would be important.
Get that. Yeah.
So change the topic. The second thing I'd say in terms of marketing it is I would definitely use Eventbrite or something like that and put it on there and have that as the landing page that you're pointing people to. You can still have a landing page there, but because you use Zoom, right?
Yeah.
You can connect Eventbrite to Zoom.
Okay. I didn't know that.
It's inside the thing. And so you can have it as an online event, and then you're maximizing the use of Eventbrite and their ability to push it out and for people that are searching for things, as well as your own networks.
Right, yeah.
The other benefit of it is that it looks after all the paper, like all the information. You can send emails through that as well. You can have all their details, so you can add them to an email list as well. You can do all those sort of things. And you should be able to do a connection. What's your email list?
I use MailerLite.
Yeah, so MailerLite has an integration. You just have to work out what it is with Eventbrite.
Okay,
and you
that's
can
cool.
put that Eventbrite link on your website. So what sort of website do you have?
I have a WordPress website.
Yeah, so WordPress. So there is a WordPress plugin for Eventbrite.
Oh, cool.
And you can just add basically embed it into the page and have it there so people can buy tickets. So you can still have it on there, but they're just buying all their tickets through Eventbrite.
Yeah.
So I would do that as a start. So
that sounds good.
That helps that kind of push out, because one of the things is that because you work in the Waikato, it's not that you've got a tiny following, but you're never going to have a massive following outside your network. And so you're only talking to that small group, and this is something that can be used nationwide, worldwide. So we want to just break out of that shell, and that helps break out of that shell. But
yeah, for sure.
And then if you want to do a few other bits and pieces, you can do that as well. So that'd be freaking sorry. Now I'm really excited because the real estate agent just texted to say that the person wants to have a second look, and now I'm gonna
so exciting.
No, sorry, I'm focusing. Oh gosh. Okay.
It'll happen.
Well, I have to just fill in everyone because this is going to be coming out hopefully of the things. The house has literally only been on the market for 3 days, and I'm already having meltdowns about why it hasn't sold yet, which is completely unrealistic. We've had 4 people go through it for private viewings. It hasn't even had an open home. And I'm like, what am I going to do if it doesn't sell in the first 3 weeks? Because I don't think I'm made for this. I'm so strong about it. Anyway, I'll keep you posted, Kate. Anyway, okay, so I feel really excited. I would stop talking about it. I feel really excited about that topic. It might not be milestones. It could be milestones. I also like taking photos with more intent, which that's why I pulled out milestones, because I thought that is more intent. And milestones, we understand milestones as parents. So it might be like the secret milestones you're missing out on taking. So, because we all know first day of school. But what about our secret coffee place, like our secret place for coffee, our favorite place to have swings? Like I'm assuming there's the stuff you talk about.
Yeah, I've definitely touched on that, definitely.
So I think you could have 25 milestones you may not be recording.
I love that.
And then you could come up with them, and they could go from birth to young adulthood.
Yes, I love that. That's exactly what I love to do. That's amazing.
Because that's what a real photographer does, right? Like we all take the photos of first day of school, the ball. I'm just thinking because I've got my youngest is 18 now.
Yeah.
But what about the photo of us packing the car for when they first go flatting? Or what about us doing the one of the day that we went out and had a coffee together and we didn't have a fight or whatever the thing is. Or I've taken a photo of me because my daughter just finally hugged me for the first 3 months, and this is the feeling I got when I did that. Like I think those are the intent feelings.
It's those everyday moments that that kind of you think you're always going to remember, but that, time moves on and suddenly your 3-year-old's a 13-year-old and they're not just holding your hand through the car park anymore. Well, I assume not.
Yes, I think that is, well, actually, I'll just say one of my favourite things about one of my girls who's a young adult is she's quite happy to take my hand sometimes, and she'll do it with her sisters as well. Like they all will hold hands with each other. They're all young adults, and occasionally let us walk around. And then they suddenly realise that people might not realise they're sisters, and that maybe they're thinking something else. But I love that about them. I love that they have got that affection. But you're right. Like the cuddles are very easy when the child is 2, and then they kind of dry up a bit, and then they can come back. But those are the documented moments. But I love, and I don't want to talk about all the ideas because, of course, you're going to have a whole bunch of them. But I think I would come to those. And you could even do it the first 5 years from, school, and then like teens.
Yeah.
And then and you could do it, and you might decide you can go all of them, and you go, actually, I've got so many, I might do them in 3 different webinars.
Yeah, I've got at least 52.
Well, there we go. So you could do like ones, for those of you that have got preschoolers, for those of you that have got school-age children, for those of you that have got your teen years, you could do 3 webinars.
Yeah, that like captures
because I would probably
so much more.
I probably wouldn't want to go to one that was all about that had a whole lot of stuff for under 5s because that no longer relates to me. And so I'm thinking that you would hit them, but your content structure would be the same.
Yeah, okay. I'm just writing notes too.
Yeah, no, and you get a recording of this, but I think that'd be key. Now, before we jump into the webinar plan, because I identified some things you did wrong when you talked about it with me. Sorry for using the word wrong. It's probably a bad coaching word, okay. Guys. Just cope with it.
Some things I could improve on.
But the other thing that I have got a lot better with my free course, which is Attract, Engage, Convert, everybody, and you can find it on Eventbrite. But what I found this year is I was starting to do it this year, and next year I've got it sorted. I have now got an automation sequence so that when people actually sign up, because I was finding that you'd get maybe only 50% of people actually turning up on the day. So one thing you want to do is you want to have something that they only get if they come to the live event. So it might be a downloadable planner, it might be like a little worksheet, it might be something or like a activity idea, or it might be like going into depth with one thing. So it's like a really cool thing, and it's like this is only available for people that turn up to the actual event. So obviously you want everyone to get the recording, but that one thing is only for them. So it's a little bit of a help. So it's easy for me because mine's live. It's a live event, like in person. So I'm just like, no, I don't have a recording. You have to come. But that's what you need for a webinar. The second thing that I would say is the pre-emails beforehand are absolutely key. So some people book for my courses 10 months in advance. So I've done this crazy thing where they get an email on ordering their ticket, and then from 6 months out they get a monthly email saying how excited I am that they're coming, and then when it gets closer it goes to 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 days before. What I want you to have is that 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 days before. It might be less than that, but it could just be they get one for registering it, and then 1 month. So I don't know how far out you're going to do it. Normally we want to say around 6 weeks we start marketing it, but one on ordering their ticket, then so they get that 4 weeks. So 4 weeks from the date, they get another one with like maybe a little tip or an idea or something you're going to cover, and a testimonial. So we have testimonials in every single one of these, and a little bit of like excitement from you of how excited you're going to see them, and really warming up. Maybe a bit of your work. You could show an image of yourself with your family, or a photo and why one of them is your favorite image, and another one. So we go that enrollment, 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 1 week, 2 days before. And you will get a much higher increase of people turning up, and you'll get a much more engaged audience because they're so excited, because you've already shown them that you really care about them coming. And none of that's selling. None of that is saying, I want to buy from you. It's doing that. And then what we've got to do, so we've got to do all this stuff before we even plan the thing. We've got to think about what we're going to say afterwards. Because at the moment, I don't know what you're doing. Do they have a nurture sequence?
I've kind of done a little bit of that. So I have, when people previously have signed up on my landing page, which I've just set up through MailerLite, they get a yes, it's happening soon. And I have sent them one maybe a week before, and then on the day saying, we're going live in 2 hours or whatever. And then afterwards, I have sent out like a downloadable for the people that attended, and so I make a note of who actually came. But it's just kind of been like, thank you for joining, the doors are open now, come and join me, and maybe like a reminder before enrollment closes, because I do have like a open and close period for it, just because that helps me manage my own mental health.
No, because you have you have regular times you do it.
Yeah.
But what about after, if they don't buy, what happens to them then?
Then they just kind of go onto my general email list, and they get my weekly, sometimes not weekly, but mostly weekly email that just talks about a variety of the things that I sort of stand for, and, has a little bit of work that I do, and the general content that I've been learning about in the master as well.
So if you've got a separate list of the people that have been to webinars, I know it might be quite small at the moment, and those people compared to the ones that are your clients, your photography clients?
So I've tagged them, so they've got their own little section in MailerLite. But then when I send out my weekly emails, I send it out to my entire list, and I have my photography clients. They're also tagged, and they just get lumped in with my entire list as well.
So what I would like you to do is, as an action point for when you've got headspace, I know you're already busy, Kate, and I don't want to overload it. But what I would do is, you said before you've got 52 milestones, right? That's one a week. What I would do is I would put them in, I would make very short emails, and do it as a nurture sequence, because you've got quite a small number of people. So you don't want to repeat. You don't want to send something out to, like, I'm sure you've got more than 5, but 5 people who've got that sort of thing. And then you're like, oh, crap, they've all seen it now. I can't really give them that again. And now I've got 25 people and So what I want you to do is I would like you at some point to create a very simple kind of template where it's like with a tip of the week. And you could even do it once a fortnight. You don't have to do it weekly. But write them all at once. And then use MailerLite and create an automation. And then put those people that have had that webinar, put them in now. Like as soon as you've done it, put them in. And every time you do a webinar, your new group of people go into that nurture sequence. So they start at email 1 and they just go through. And now you've got a whole year of contact with them, and you could put every 4th email, you can have a call to action. If you know that you'd like to do that course, contact me and I'll let you know the next open dates. So it's evergreen, so you don't have to worry about it too much. And that would help you.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah.
And because I think that's the other thing is that you're losing out on people who might not be ready to buy then. And how do you manage them? And if you're throwing them into the tank with everyone else, they're getting that, but they may unsubscribe because it no longer relates to them anymore. So I think that would help them and work that well too.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I might have to book a weekend away and write down all those emails.
I mean, I'm feeling you because, as you know, I've been getting you guys to write your FAQs. And I was like, I have to start doing this because I'm getting anxiety every time I tell you guys to do it. So I was like, I'm going to make mine really good and detailed and make them like proper posts. Oh my gosh, like trying to find time to do them is so hard. And so it's good making myself do it though, because it reminds me that I can tell you guys, why haven't you done it yet? But actually it's quite hard sometimes just to do it, isn't it?
Like running your business and working in your business are like 2 different jobs.
And then you got parenting and then you get all this other stuff going on, and it's really tricky, you know?
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's the thing. Now let's get to the webinar. How long is it normally?
About 40 minutes.
Okay, perfect. And what do you do at the beginning of your webinar?
I welcome people in. I tell them what we're going to do.
Yes, perfect.
Basically, I let them know the structure, because for me as a human being, I need to know what's going on.
Yes, me too.
To keep my attention.
It helps, it helps.
Yeah. Clear communication is always great. Then I introduce myself, and I kind of sort of introduce the topic of like why your photos are important to begin with. And then I introduce the digital dark age kind of concept to them. And then we talk about how to actually sort of mitigate against the digital dark age with some practical steps. And then, so at the start I've said, I'm going to tell you all of this stuff, and then I'm going to introduce to you my course, kind of get a little bit of a buy-in at that point. I do ask for a bit of engagement throughout that. Sometimes there's a lot of engagement, sometimes there's not.
Do you ask at the beginning, do you ask them to tell you in the chat how old, if they've got children and how old their children are?
Not really.
I would do that. So if we want to get people engaged, we have to get them used to using their voices. So really early on, when you're telling them a little bit about you, I want you so for a start, when you're first starting and you're coming on, I would definitely just say hello to people in the group and just call out a couple of people that you can see and just say, it's really nice to see you here, Rose. I saw you when you enrolled, or maybe you getting your ticket or whatever. Oh, it's lovely to see you, and just like a couple so that they kind of feel, you noticed me. So that it works really well. But then I'd also like to say, when you go, a little bit about myself. My name is Kate Ryan. I'm a photographer and I'm a mum. My children are such and such and such. I'd love to know how old your children are while I tell you a little bit more about myself, and let me know in the chat. And so they can do that, and then you can go, oh my gosh, I didn't know, Leslie, that you had 14 children, or whatever, like whatever the thing is, poor Leslie, her womb, man.
Wow. It's like a litter.
It's a litter. Yeah, so you can have those conversations and do that, and then that gets them used to using chat. If they're a bit technologically, I know most people know how to use Zoom, but they still can feel weird, or they don't know they're allowed to. And then I'd also say, if at any point you need to ask a question, let me know. If I can't answer it right away, I'll note it, and I'll definitely answer it at the end. But often people, if you wait till the end for that Q&A, they've forgotten what the question was. So it's kind of like giving you the admin job of remembering what those questions are. I can cope with a lot of interaction and interruption, so I quite enjoy it. But if you're in a day where you don't, or you don't like it, just basically say, that's a great question, Leanne, I'll come back to it at the end. and then just note it somewhere. So always have a pen and paper with you so you're ready to do that, so you've got it. And that's going to really help that interaction going. So, and then you can say things like, so if we're doing milestones, you can say, let's talk about milestones. Here are 5 common milestones that most parents have. I wonder how many of these have you got? And so you could do like the birth photo, the the first day of school, and then you can say, all right, tell me out of how many of these have you got? And they'll go 3 or 4 or 5. Oh, 5. Okay, great. Would it surprise you to know these are not the ones we're going to be talking about today? So, or, so you may already know that, anyway, know that, but say, I want to talk about, I know you're going to take these ones. I want to talk about all the other really important milestones you're missing.
Yeah.
Yep. Milestones you're missing. The ultimate guide.
There we go. Yeah.
To capturing your life with your family.
I love it.
On film. Milestones you're missing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, there we go. We got it. Didn't need ChatGPT. So I think we do something like that, and then what I would do is what you're doing. The other thing I'd say is you're selling at the end. I think I've shared with you that when I changed my webinar or my course structure and my webinar structure to selling all the way through, I do have a big sales pitch. And I keep on running out of time for it, and I'm not getting to it because I refuse to end late, and I get sidetracked by getting excited about stuff. So then we go, oh crap, I didn't have time. And what's really weird is since I haven't been getting to the end sales pitch and I've been selling all the way through, my sales have like tripled. The end sales thing is that what we want to do is sell all the way through. And the way we do that is I want you to break down think about in your course what outcomes you're giving them. So it might be feeling more organized. It might be having more intent. It might be measuring milestones. I've got my little list here of the things that because I got really excited when you talked to me. And I think because you'd been talking so much about that digital dark age, I went, I don't really feel like, I'm not, and I know I do have too many photos, but it doesn't inspire me to be part of it.
It's not exciting.
It's
and
not
I don't feel excited
it sounds
by
like
that either.
Work.
Yeah.
Whereas taking photos is fun. Then you go, and now we need to look after it. And I go, cool, I want to look after them because our intent. Looking back on all the shitty photos does not sound like fun to me. Because especially when I've worked out that those are not good photos now, because I know how to. So I think if you went, taking care of your photos, taking photos with more intent, documenting your photos, how to use your photos. If those are the 4 things, you can choose a different order, and I'd probably start with something a bit more sexy at the top. But what I would do is I would have a testimonial, a photo and a testimonial for each different version of those. And so if we're talking about milestone 1, like major milestones or something like that, you might have someone who has a photo and goes something like, I can't believe, years ago I wouldn't have loved this photo of me, or whatever. Or it doesn't even have to be a testimonial. It can be like, I loved working with Kate. And then you can talk about what that person did or how they used that photo or why they did this or even them enjoying themselves. Because one of them might be putting yourself in the photo would need to be one of these sections, right? So you could use a photo of you taking a photo of someone or you could do a photo of yourself, and you could do a photo of yourself without the makeup, because you've had those before, photos without the makeup and showing a bit of imperfection and saying, part of me hates this photo, but I know why I should love it. Or part of me hates this photo, but it's why I love it. And then you're demonstrating it, but what I want you to do is say, when I work with you or when we work together in, I help you walk through this.
Yeah.
Because I think mindset should be part of this as well.
Yeah, and that's definitely something I talked about, yeah.
Getting the memory keeping mindset. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I love that.
So I think, you'd have mindset in there, you'd have more intent, you'd have milestones. Because I think with milestones, to get to milestones, you have to have the mindset that you're going to be part of it, because otherwise you're going to look back and you're not in it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just on I think, try and find the TikTok video that's going around. It might be on Instagram too, if you're not using TikTok, of the woman who the husband suddenly realizes that she's the only one without a Christmas stocking.
Oh,
and it's empty.
It sounds heartbreaking.
So the dogs have one, the kids have one, the husband has one, And then he's panning around and goes, whose is that empty stocking? And she goes, that's mine. And he said, why is it empty? And she said, because no one buys me anything. And apparently it would be like, it had been happening for 10 years and no one had noticed.
Oh my God, that's heartbreaking.
And it's like, but that's that story of being the invisible member. Don't be the invisible member of your family.
Yeah.
Like that should be in this webinar, because I think that would make people feel connected to you.
Yeah.
So we have to get, because the problem is with the other topic, it's got no emotional impact in it to make me want to buy from you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas
it's not my favourite part to teach. My favourite part to teach is the rest of it.
Exactly. So, okay. So if okay, Kate, lesson number 1 in marketing. We never talk about the most unfavourite part. This is why I don't teach on analytics. I know they're important and I do teach you guys analytics. But do I ever talk about analytics on my social or market with those? No, because they bore the shit out of me. Yeah, so we don't talk about that. So what I want you to do is think about, so what you think you cover, then I want you to make before you do what we're going to cover, I want you to have a big promise at the beginning. And the next, after we finish this webinar, you will be able to you will know how to be more, to measure the milestones that matter.
Yeah.
Did we say milestones that matter before?
Yes.
It's definitely the thing.
It is. It's the repeating
thing. It is,
yeah.
It's the milestones that matter. Okay, so do that. Then you do your who am I. Then you do a promise. So you go, I promise to deliver you whatever it is. And at the end, so this is, you don't have to have a slide for this, along the way, I'm also going to share with you about my course and what that course is called, which we're not going to call, is it called the Digital Dark Age?
Oh, the course itself is called Memory Vault.
Oh, so why? Yeah. So, okay. I'm going to talk about my course, Memory Vault, which helps you become the memory keeper of your family. So you would say that then, all right? Then say, like, you need to stick around because you've come today. You need to stick around because at the end of this, I'm going to be giving you blah, blah, blah because you came today. So you put that in and then you ask them a question, all right? So what would it feel like if, or what will it feel like when you are, when your children have gone, they've left, and you look back and realize that you don't have the memories that you don't have a record of the memories that really made a difference all the way through your child's life. And then say, imagine if instead of that you had created a memory bank, not just for you, but for them to help. So you basically open it up. Then you start with your story. Do a little bit of your story there about just like, as a photographer, it's so easy for me to be behind and having to make a conscious effort. So, I'm worse than any of you. Like I create a whole job where I'm behind the lens. So talk about that, where you would start your discovery, your results, while you're sharing it, and then go through your little things. And I think just doing like 3 little content blocks. So one would be about mindset, one would be about being more intentful, and then the other one would be milestones. So the milestones is the third thing because it's the teaser, but the other 2 lead to it. And in each one of those, there would be the content that you're covering, then what that looks like when it's successful. So you can maybe show that with like someone else's work, like as one of your clients or your work, and then like a little bit of a how-to, and then like a little bit of like when we work together, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And that structure means you're actually selling all the way through and getting really excited. And then at the end, you can go, I'd really love you to, who's enjoyed this, who's learned something, what have you learned? Get them doing that, and then I'll go into the sales.
Yeah. Cool.
What do you think?
That's kind of like untangled everything, because I have been really stuck with when people tell me, they're just like, oh my God, I lost all my photos and it was heartbreaking. And I'm like, okay, well, that's the thing that people are telling me that they want, but it's not the thing that I like. I know how to solve that problem, but the problem's actually not that. It's having intentional use of your photographs and not letting them go stale and stuff.
There's me who's like that. And so, yes, that is that group, but that's an older group. And I think the market's bigger for you if you're starting to talk about to people that are really wanting to do that. And because there's also, like if you look at older millennials and Gen Xers, we did just chuck our kids online because technology was new. We had no idea about all the pedophiles. We had no idea about understanding that child is an autonomous unit who gets to choose whether they're online or not. We didn't think about the fact that that record would be there all the way through their life. And so someone might be able to find a photo on my Facebook of my 23-year-old and go, haha, look at them with food all over their face when they're 2 or whatever. We didn't think about any of that stuff. And the upcoming families, unless they've really opted into social, so many are choosing not to have their child on social media. So your market, market potential for this is so much bigger, targeting younger people who want to have intent, who know how to use a smartphone, who aren't necessarily, they might come and see you, but I haven't got that, don't need that just, they want to be the photographer as well. And that's the market you should be targeting.
Yeah, and that's the market I want to help because, I can help them right now with that information. It's not going to be in 20 years' time where it's like, let's sort out the big pile that you've got.
Yeah, which is overwhelming.
Know that there's missing things.
You can still do that, and if someone came to you, you could say, yeah, this course will definitely help you do that, but that's not your ideal client. Yeah,
you're right, spot on.
Okay, does this make you more excited?
It does. It makes me feel so much like I feel, like narrowed the arrow there.
Yeah,
we've
narrowed the arrow.
To use a Rachelism.
We have. We've narrowed the arrow, but we've also broadened the audience weirdly because we've made it an audience that's, more general. So the thing is that what we've done is found something that is more aligned with your values, more aligned with where your fire is, and more aligned with your ideal target audience.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of just that like reordering of information.
Yeah.
Who knew?
And also
you did.
Well, I did. Well, the thing is I didn't know until you gave me a full understanding because I knew what you had been doing and I was like, I was a little bit like, am I going to struggle with this a bit because I don't have buy-in myself and I have to find the buy-in like I was.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted you to give me details. I was like, somewhere in there's got to be a buy-in and I didn't realize it was going to be here. I thought you were going to just convince me how awesome it was to document all my stuff. And I was like, great. But when you did that, I was like, you always go with the bit that excites you.
Yeah.
Because if you're not excited about it, there's no way you can sell it.
Yeah, no, you've got to build that excitement. Excitement is contagious. So,
yeah. I absolutely love it, and I can see people sharing it. So tell everyone now, do you have a set date for the next time you're going to do this?
I am looking at opening up with the new year because that seems to be the time that people set goals and realise that they want something different from their life for the year coming ahead. So being more intentional with taking your photos in 2024 could be for you. But it's also when people like to do a bit of decluttering as well.
Yeah, that is so true. Yeah, so true.
So but it's also kind of like a little bit of a sticky time of the year because people are out in the summertime enjoying their family life and maybe not paying attention online quite so much, which is where I'm going to be.
Okay, so my recommendation is you've got target market mothers. I would never start any sort of webinar attendance or lead into anything. I know it's going to mess you up, but until after school goes back.
Yeah, well, that's it as well.
You can't, I don't even bother. I don't even bother, even with my, like you guys, my coaching comes back on the 16th of January. I don't expect half of you to be there because it's just and I understand that. And the content's purposely a bit lighter then. But my one-on-one, I'm booked. I could have booked it out, but I was like, I don't really want to be sitting there and doing 5 one-on-ones with clients, over summer. So I'm like that too. But February, you have to do it, not the first week school comes back, the week after. Parents are like, thank God I've got something to do. That's my own time. So that's a really good time to do it. And then you're kind of heading into, if you're doing that and it's 4 weeks, in 4 weeks time, that's heading into kind of weather's starting to get a little bit cooler. People are happier. The days are getting a bit shorter. So they're like, cool, I can happy to do something at night. Kids aren't up till really. So that might be a better timing for you.
Yeah, for sure. That's kind of where I've been a little bit sticky as well because I look after my children all summertime and I have to do the juggle between my physical work and looking after my kids. So,
so work it around you because you are actually quite similar to your target market in that regard too. So look at that.
Yeah. True.
Honestly, this has been such a pleasure. Oh, so if they want to do it, if they go, actually, I don't even need to come to that webinar or I'd like to do that webinar, how do they find you?
You can go to my website, which is ryansdaughterphotography.co.nz /memory vault, if that's what you want to do. And there is a waitlist sign up page there. Or you can just come and join me on Instagram. I'm _RyansDaughter_ on Instagram. Send me a message and I'll send you the link.
And can I ask a question? Because you can have more than one URL on your Instagram. Do you have that as one of the URLs?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic.
It's in there.
Just thought I'd check. And do you have it in your saved stories as well?
I'm really bad at saving.
You should do
I need
like
to,
do a save story of just, so that would be a good task for you to add to your tasks, because of course we have so many. But I would be strategic and go, 1 week I'm just going to focus on, because once you've done your save stories, they're done. And I would do memory vault about Kate, my work, memory vault. But I'd go brand work, family work, and then you can also do like any free lead gen. You can do one of those like freebies. And if you've done it on a story with the link, if they click it, they can get it to the link. So having those there would be really useful.
Great, that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I will do
it's
that.
a good little task to do, and it's good like lead gen generator,
Yes.
Awesome. Oh, such a pleasure, Kate. Honestly, I have so enjoyed this, and I can't wait. I can't wait to see this now.
I'm really excited. Like, I just want to not do everything else I have to do.
Well, that's a good
and just
sign.
do this now.
Okay, so you're coming out next year. We're having for those of you listening, I'm filming this before Christmas. It's coming out after Christmas, I think, or before. I'm not too sure. But I don't know. I've lost control. But we're having our coaching group is having a whole day planning using my new planner, and I would like you to have your planned dates of when you're going to run this, come up to do that, because then we can work backwards and start working out what your structure should be for your posts and things like that, because then you'd need to do your promo posts and work out all those sort of things as part of this, and then you'll know that those are the things you can do. And a tip for you, what I would do is I would make an auto list on Metrical that can be turned on and off for when you're doing these, and then you can have it start at a particular time, and you know that it's going to be every day for every week for the next 6 weeks or something. That post would go on, and then you just turn it off.
Yes, okay, that's
and
good.
if you want to do it for a date, you can just have them in there and then go back and change the date in each one of them and then turn it back on again. So you just turn on, turn off, and it can just run. That's
awesome. I need to dig deeper into doing that.
Yeah. You're like, right, Rachel, thank you so much. I'm really enjoying the session.
No, that is awesome.
It's one of my goals. I haven't done it yet either. I'm being a total hypocrite. I'm telling you what to do, but I haven't done that myself. I haven't even done my FAQs. You guys have done your FAQs. I don't know what I'm talking about, so.
No, this has been so amazing. Like I said, I'm just so excited to get into it, and I really want to be in that place, and I'm getting there through the Content Master Web of like having everything done in advance, so it is just a case of turning it on and off. So yeah, it is so good.
Honestly, such a pleasure, Kate, and I can't wait to see you on Tuesday.
Yeah, me too.
Cool. Okay, thank you.
Bye.